I have a beautiful young audience here immediately in front of me, and I called the youngest of them to me just a few minutes ago, and I said, if you get tired, you go to sleep. That applies to the rest of you in the audience as well. I was once talking in a church, and the baby began to cry, and the mother took the babe out. As she was going down the aisle, I said, "Madam, the child is not bothering me." She said, "No, you're bothering the child." A woman bought an expensive dress, brought it home to the husband, showed him the bill, and he said to her, "When you tried it on, why didn't you say, 'Get behind me, Satan'?" She said, "I did, and he said it looked so good from the back." There was a man went to heaven, and he thought perhaps he would like to go to hell, see what it was like, and he asked St. Peter if he could go down. So he went down to hell and rather enjoyed himself over the weekend. Came back to heaven, and the following weekend said to Peter, "Really, I didn't mind it down there. Could I go down again?" "Yes," said Peter. And for the second time, he came back and reported enjoying himself. The third time, he asked to go down, and Peter said, "Now this is your last time." When he got down, the devil put him in one of the hot corners of hell. And he said to the devil, "When I was here before, you treated me nicely." "Yes," he said, "then you were a tourist. Now you're a resident." So remember, we get treated very well now by the devil, but when we're residents, he does not treat us as well. I have a missionary priest friend whom has been my intimate for over 35 years. And he's been a missionary in China, Korea, Vietnam, has been in prison in Russia. And the last time I saw him, he told me that he went into one of the churches in Vietnam, and the children were gathered around another girl who was about 10 or 12 years of age. And they pointed the girl out to him, and the girl had a veil over her face. And he pulled the veil down, and he said it was the ugliest face that he had ever seen. Not so much the face itself, physically, but the ugly features that she portrayed. He paid little attention to her, and the children came to him the next day, and then he became a bit frightened of her, and he asked if she had lived in the village, and she had lived in the village just a short period of her life. He spoke French to her. She spoke perfect French. Spoke Italian, spoke Latin, though she had no training in any of these languages. And he felt then perhaps that she was possessed. And he took a relic of the little flower and brought it to her. She reacted violently. Then took the relic out and just brought the frame of the relic, and she laughed at him. And then he briefly exorcised her, and she was perfectly normal. Now, because we get so much of our theology from the press, I thought perhaps you might be interested in hearing about the devil from a sound philosophical and theological point of view. I'm going to describe to you the devil first from the psychiatric point of view. and secondly, from the biblical. First, the psychiatric. It is interesting that as we drop things in the church, the world begins to pick them up and distorts them. Now we, for example, the nuns drop the long habits, the girls put on maxi coats. We stop saying the beads, hippies put the beads around their neck. And as theologians dropped the demonic, the psychiatrists picked it up. Rollo May of Rockefeller Institute has several chapters in his work on psychiatry on the diabolic. What is the diabolic from the purely psychiatric point of view? Dr. Rollo May analyzes the word diabolic. It comes from the Greek words dia and balein. Dia balein is to tear apart, rend asunder. Anything, therefore, that breaks pattern, that destroys unity, that corrupts gestalt, produces discord, that is the diabolic. Now, there has been a great increase of the diabolic. Notice, for example, the discord in the church. The discord in religious communities. The discord among the laity as regards the church. Discords in the clergy. All these are manifestations of a spirit of the diabolic that surrounds us. Now, this psychiatrist analyzes the way in which the diabolic works. And he mentions three. First, love of nudity. Secondly, violence, aggressiveness. Thirdly, split personalities, no inner peace, disjointed minds. First, a love of nudity. I asked a chaplain some years ago in an institution if he had any manifestations of the diabolic in an institution where he was, and said, yes, sometimes when I bring the Blessed Sacrament in, the people strip as I pass the room. But we leave that aside. That is not important. I would rather refer you to the gospel. Now, our blessed Lord one time went into the land of the Gerasenes, or Gadarenes. It depends upon which translation of the scriptures you are using. And he found in this land a young man possessed by the devil. The gospel mentions three characteristics of this young man. First, he was nude. Secondly, he was violent and aggressive. They could not even keep him in chains. And thirdly, his mind was split, schizophrenic. Our Lord said to him, "What is your name?" He said, "My name is Legion." Now, a legion in his time meant 6,000 soldiers in the Roman army. See, already he's a person and yet he's legion, 6,000 others. My name is Legion, for we are many.